Hello, beautiful humans. I wanted to just start a video series on the essence and science of psychedelics. I'm really excited, and I thought that it would be appropriate to kind of start the first episode just kind of explaining my personal journey through healing myself mentally and maybe physically too, using psilocybin mushrooms, which is just one of the classic psychedelics. I think it's really important that we talk about these things and be open about it because, a lot of people struggle with mental health issues. And I'm sure some people watching this are right now. So, just having this human to human connection that, usually you see people on Instagram, like they just look all happy and stuff, but in reality, it's not true. There's so much more behind what we see. So here it is. This is what's behind everything. So let's just start with, depression. So trigger warning for things like suicide, self-harm, and just symptoms of depression. I was first diagnosed 3 years ago, and I just had all of these really bad mental patterns. I would just bring myself down. I felt very numb, worthless, like there was just no use to anything because it essentially equated to nothing. And I felt extremely suicidal, and I would self-harm. I would cut myself, and some days I would just do nothing. I would just stare at a wall. Like it isn't good. It got to a point where I tried to, commit life bye-bye, and I was hospitalized. I was put on different kinds of medications that didn't really do anything for me. It didn't do anything for me at all. In fact, it probably made things worse because I just got all of these symptoms. And as well as if you didn't take it for one day, you're going to be getting a bunch of side effects and withdrawal symptoms. So anyways, it just kind of kept going. I tried therapy, and things just didn't go anywhere. I wasn't feeling any better. I was still stuck in this state of depression for a very long time. So my journey with psychedelics, I took them, I want to say, a year into my depression, and I didn't have any education about it. And that's one big issue when you're taking these things, is that you have to have education. You have to know things about it if you really want to utilize it, because I just saw it as something you take to have fun. And yeah, it is fun to take them, but that's not the respect you should be giving it. You should be putting it give it tons of respect, man, because these things are powerful and they can do a lot. And I feel like we should not view them as simply some kind of recreational drug. It's a healing medicine. Yeah, we just don't have the right education on it. And that's kind of my purpose right now. I just want to be able to tell everybody and educate people for harm reduction purposes, as well as just, how to use it, how to really use it. I first took it, and I had this extreme understanding and knowledge about so many different things, and about society and humanity as a whole. And I was like, wow, this is something I wasn't expecting at all. And the only reason why I took these in the first place was because there's a lot of research done on that they're the safest recreational drug to take. So I thought to myself, well, if it's safer than weed and I smoke weed, then why not just take it? Nonetheless, I just kind of disregarded this experience. I was just tripping balls, man. Yeah, no. So I would take them very, very rarely. And it wasn't until early 2020 I started taking them a little bit more often. And I realized this pattern. About a week or two after I would take them, I would stop feeling depressed. I would stop cutting myself. I just felt all around had this great appreciation for life, and I felt really good. So I found this very profound. I was like, I think there's something more behind this than I know. So I started looking into it, and I found that there was this amazing research that, has been done over like decades, about cancer patients with end of life depression, overcoming that anxiety, that depression about their lives ending through simply one psychedelic experience. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, now I need to start using this as some kind of medicine. So I went in with the intent of using it as healing. And with that intent, wow, did it change things. Like when you go in with these things with intent and purpose, that's really how you utilize it. And at first it was just gaining the love for life again. And then it was like, started turning things around. I started seeing myself from an outside perspective. I'm like, man, I'm a really messy person. I need to start cleaning up more. And, I don't appreciate my parents that much, and I should be appreciating them more. I should help out more. I should communicate with them better. I essentially became my own therapist. I started going to the root of my issues. I started, filling my life up with more essence, more hobbies, more things. And I realized how complex and intricate life is, and how I have to weave my purpose, even though, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a lot of work. But in the end, like, that's what really just makes things so much better. And I realized, why would I ever end things? Because there's so much love to spread. There's so much things I want to do, so many people I want to help. So I found the purpose through that. I got this openness as well, just for everything, just overall more open to ways I can help my mental health, or seeing things from different perspectives, trying to put myself in other people's shoes. So one thing I feel like just how Western culture just sees things like mental illness. Great analogy. So you have a broken arm, and antidepressants can be like this band-aid they put on your arm, and you're kind of just there like, wow, that really fixed my arm, bro, thanks. No, I didn't do anything really. But what psychedelics did for me especially, is it gave me all the tools and all the knowledge on how to fix my arm. But the only thing is that I had to do it myself. And yes, fixing your arm yourself isn't gonna be, easy really. But at the end of the day, man, your arm is gonna be fixed, and you're gonna be okay. And it's great. One thing that's really important too is that it ended up turning into something where I was like, now I really have to start integrating these lessons into my day-to-day life. It's like having this gold bar of knowledge when you're on these substances, and then once you're coming down, it starts to turn to dust, and you're like, oh no, I want it, I need that. So you have to grab onto all the lessons you can and start sprinkling it across your day-to-day life, right? You have to reflect back. You have to have this mentality that you learned. You really got to integrate it if you want it to do stuff, to really change things. So that's also very important. So I'm editing right now, and I just wanted to add this. Western society, when we see the antidepressant or something like that, we're just going to take it, and then it's going to fix our chemical imbalance, and all of a sudden we're not going to be depressed anymore. And some people go into mushrooms or psychedelic substances thinking that they're going to get that type of thing, but it's not that. You have to take the lessons you learn and integrate them. And I wanted to add a few more things that I forgot to mention. It has made me very, very self-aware of just my thought patterns, and I get to step back and think, okay, where is this coming from? And then I just kind of go back and back and back, and I'm like, oh, it's Sometimes like it's a conditioned thing that I was brought up with, or it's something that I brought upon myself, and I kind of just fix these things. So whenever I, in a sober state, when I have these thoughts, I was like, okay, I catch myself in the moment, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe not do this, and change that thought into something else more positive. And then you just kind of keep doing this, and eventually those negative thought patterns are gonna go away. Another thing was, I used to be an atheist, and I was like, I like science, so, things like higher beings sounds impractical because in my current reality, I do not observe those things. However, that was quite ignorant in the sense, we're always going to be ignorant, and that's okay because we keep on learning, and that's what's so beautiful. So don't beat yourself up, I guess, all the time, which is something I have to learn. I learned, but I still need to, because it's a very deep-rooted issue for me. Nonetheless, I became very spiritual. So on these substances, you can literally feel something greater. You can actually feel it. I can't explain it exactly because describing these experiences is very difficult through the language that we currently have. Another analogy, our language has 3 crayons to describe these experiences, or to depict these experiences, but we really need 1,000 different crayons to really get the message across. And you gotta remember that description and experience live in 2 opposite dimensions, so just trust me. Yeah, I could feel like just how much more there is, that there's a great beyond. I could feel higher power, and just becoming open like this, kind of just stepping out of the box and just realizing that, wow, everything is kind of possible, bro. At least for me, life has become so much more interesting and lovable now that I've just become more spiritual. Just thinking like, wow, I can do anything. This is very fun. Having that like childlike mind again is beautiful. And what's so interesting on psychedelics is that you're seeing everything like you are seeing it for the first time. Simply something like a brick wall can be the most beautiful, interesting thing ever, because it's just like, look at those fractals, man. Anyways, it's been about half a year into my journey, and it's so interesting to look back at myself, because I am not that anymore. I'm not depressed. And I've also been more open to things helping with my mental health, like, using manifestation, which before I probably would think is a completely dumb idea, but wow, has it changed things for me. It is so interesting. It is so beautiful, because manifestation, but also what kind of psychedelics does, we always want these results, but we never want to do the action to get these results. And to do the action, you have to have some sort of mindset to do the action to get the results. So what those things does is it gives you that mindset, and it makes you do that action, which ends up getting you the result. It's gonna take time, man, but wow, in the end of the day, it's helpful. So I really encourage people to tell their stories as well. You really need to just start viewing things differently. So share your story. Just destigmatize this. So thank you, plant medicine, for all that you've taught me. And wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys want to, share this or comment down below, what do you want to see next, or DM me if you have any questions, or ask questions in the comments. Just go gnarly with it. Lots of love, sending so much love to everybody, and I hope everyone has an amazing day.